a retro gamer and hobbyist artist with a lot of nerve. Crawlister, the master of ponage. Hi guys, Crawlister here with a retro Let's Play. For my first Nintendo 64 Let's Play, and my first Let's Play that'll be recorded on the new Nintendo console, as you can see in the thumbnail, I thought I'd do Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. An easy and fast-paced, though still very fun game to play through. So, let's go. Alright, let's see how this looks on my lackluster computer and its capture card. You can see I have a Pikachu user icon, and it's not the ones that came from missions and rewards. I talked about that in my little review video I made earlier. Just for authenticity, I'm going to play the cutscenes in this video. And because this is a full playthrough of a game with strategy tips, that does mean the video contains spoilers. However, this is a game that's been out for decades, so it's not that big of a deal, I'd say. So there's this fairy world that's getting attacked with darkness, and this fairy character escapes on her crystal, which gets busted up into shards, which starts the beginning of the story. So, here we go. I forgot I wanted to make a configuration, so, here's showcasing that the rewind really works now. I want to change my heads-up display to this one. Now we're ready. No need for the copyability tutorial. So, the fairy collides with Kirby. Then a shard hits him on the back of the head. And he tells the girl that he found a shard just like the one she has. And they merge. So basically the fairy gestures that Kirby has to help her find all the other shards that have scattered throughout the universe that he lives in, and he's glad to help. And thus the adventure begins. Planet Popstar. Kirby's homeworld. I'm going to try to get through these stages pretty quickly because I already know the game well. I'm just not thoroughly used to playing it on this console. So I'm not going to bother to grind for 1-ups or get a lot of the star power-ups. I'm just going to go for the crystal shards and do a 100% run. It'll take a couple of hours with the cutscenes. So not as long as it took me to 100% like Metroid Zero mission, which I did earlier. I like how you can combine different copy abilities to make a combo power-up, like this fiery sword with the firing cutter ones. There are no misses, no stock losses, no deaths, if I have to say that for some people, in this playthrough. Though there are some parts where I use the rewind more or less because of copy ability reasons. So. Some stages in the game require you to use a certain copy ability or copy ability combination to get one of the shards, like this one requiring a bomb one. And there are some where you have to get them in the stage or you have to start over, so I'll use the rewind for some of those. Anyways, little Waddle Dee here is enjoying his moment with the crystal shard, unaware that there's a dark figure behind him, till now. And as soon as Kirby and the fairy arrive at the scene, they see Waddle Dee, or perhaps I should say Waddle Doo, and you have to fight him. That was easy. Then the darkness flees from him. And Kirby tells him to come along. He agrees. And he'll be there to help us as needed later on. Then there's this picnic cloth jumping minigame where you can get some stars, some health back, or an extra life. There are also trading cards which go along with the enemy info section. Try to get all 81 of them. I'm just trying to get through the game as quickly as possible, so I'm not stopping for minor resources. There's Waddle Dee again. He's gonna work this lift and help Kirby get across. It should be noted there is a limit with how long you can float with Kirby's floating ability in this specific game, so riding this lift is kinda required. Now pay attention and see how there's a trail of stars going downward. That's where one of the crystal shards in this stage is. Then we get off and descend. And we're up against the big bouncy. Stew her away. Get the shard. And as Kirby is on his way, there's a little painter girl named Adeline just working on her art. Until the crystal shard falls to the side of her. Meanwhile, a dark figure comes out of her canvas and attacks her. And then she attacks Kirby and Co. This is a reference to Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the SNES, where this girl, they called her Ado in that game, was actually one of the bosses. And she does exactly what she does in this game. She paints a bunch of enemies to attack you, and you defeat them one by one until, she gets that angry. I wonder what that blurred out image she paints is. I'm not sure if they censored it for religious or obscenity reasons. Because as you know, a lot of Japanese games have to do censorship overseas because of the possibility of offense. A good example of this is Samus Aran being shown naked during her death animation in Super Metroid. And some others, like, you know. This is actually the final boss in Kirby's Dream Land 3, that enemy. I'm not sure why they would do that at the beginning of this game, because that's like a massive spoiler. And yeah, you can just slide kick her, and that'll finish her off. So, yeah. After she regains her normal self, she offers to join them on the adventure. A magical painter could be super useful, you know. And they're off. I was aiming for the trading card, not the Maxim. We're gonna need a Sir Kibble ability for one of the shards here. You need one that can reach the ground specifically, and those are limited. So I'll just use a double cutter. I have played a lot of the older Kirby games, like from this game down by generation, on retro apps and previous Virtual Console. I haven't played any of the ones that released after Kirby 64, so it's not like I know a lot of the later games. Of course, I could play Kirby and the Amazing Mirror on the Game Boy Advance app, and probably will eventually. And hopefully Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube can come to the GameCube app one day as well. I'd be interested in checking that out. So, here's where you need the double cutter. Adeline will appear on some stages, and if you've taken damage, she'll give you a Maxim, and if your health is full, she'll give you an extra life. Here's one of the shards here. The Ghost Knights, which are that enemy with the shield and lance, will block some projectile attacks, like Kirby's exhales. Though it cannot block the double cutter, so ha-ha to them. As you climb up the hole, we see King Dedede looking over his tower top, and he snatches a shard that was in front of them and refuses to give it up, because, you know, enemies. Then the darkness appears and attacks Dedede as well. This is also very similar to the King Dedede battle from Kirby's Dream Land 3, except it's significantly easier. Not sure why the beginning of this game has a lot of spoilers to Kirby's Dream Land 3. I thought Nintendo said they hate spoilers. Alright, so after Dedede regains his consciousness, Waddle Dee tries to ask him to go, and he refuses at first. Then I guess Waddle Dee does some kind of gesture that persuades him, and though reluctant, he's like, screw it, I'm going. Basically. You can take a look at your progression in each stage in a level to see whether or not you got all the shards. And if you're missing any, the order of the ones you did obtain should serve as a hint to where they appear. Alright, that was a real pleasant start against the first boss of the game. It should be noted as well, you can't use the analog stick in Kirby 64 on the Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Classics. By default, you have to use the directional buttons. And the Nintendo 64 app doesn't really have the best input, so That can make some parts of some Nintendo 64 games kind of tricky. The input lag is especially bad in the Legend of Zelda games on the N64. In the others that I felt like playing, it wasn't that bad. So, oh well. You were a pushover. Alright, so after you beat Wispy Woods, the first boss, the main crystal opens a gateway that'll lead them to the next world. They just simply have to jump into the Star Void. And the crystal does the rest. We go from Planet Popstar to Planet Rockstar. Nice little pun, by the way. A desert and canyon world, mostly. Sandwich would be very nice. Get that lost hit point back. I'm gonna need a rock as part of the power-up I need for one of the shards in this stage. These cube enemies with eyes on them are just like thwomps from the Mario series. They'll drop down if you approach them, so be careful while crossing them. And you saw that there was a shard above them. Let's take out this big cactus enemy. If I remember right, this is the one and only auto-scroller in the entire game. You gotta wait as you climb up to avoid the ruins getting filled up with sand. Sorry, I didn't know you had to be in the middle of the arena for Waddle Dee to bust the ceiling open for you to get out. Sheesh. If you know the Kirby series, you know what Scarfies are like. You can't inhale them, and if you try to do that, or if you turn away from them, they turn to their monstrous form and will detonate on you. Alright, I need the electric enemy for a part of what I need for a crystal shard. You gotta be careful about throwing the copy ability shard into him. If you try it while they're doing the electric spark attack, it'll cancel it out. So, kind of have to aim carefully. I'm gonna use the electric and rock combination for a while because I like it a lot. And I still need some kind of rock power-up for the third stage in this world anyway. So, yeah, this'll do nicely. He sends out a rock that's connected with an electric chain, and the rock and the electric chain can both damage enemies. And you can detonate it as well. Not all Gordos are indestructible. About the trading cards, if you get a bunch of them, you can get a trading card Kirby already got earlier. And you'll know it if you do, because he'll look at it, get shocked, and have a sad facial expression. That's what makes getting all 81 of them kind of annoying. There's no reward for doing it, other than realization that you have all of them. You can do that as kind of like a side quest if you want. You gotta be careful around the collapsing pillars. If you get caught directly underneath them while they're falling, it's instant death. So, just stop in front of them and wait for them to fall. There are Rockies on these ceilings. You can just run right through every single arch without stopping, though, and they'll miss. The Mumbies, which are the mummy balls, will chase after you while you're facing away from them. Kind of like Booze from the Mario series. I'm trying to knock this one out. It's kind of hard with this weapon. There I got him. This part is just a little bit scary. Because you got these trap platforms that'll try to crush you. The little star pickups build up the gauge on the bottom of the screen, and if you fill it up, you get an extra life. That's what they do. And if you revisit the stage, any crystal shard you already picked up will be replaced with a blue star that'll fill up the gauge quite a bit. Your remaining lives reset, though, if you quit the game and come back to it from your save file. So, there's not much of a point, in my opinion. So here's the first stage in the game where you pair up with King Dedede. Kirby rides on his back, and you control Dedede to destroy enemies and walls with his hammer. Here's where the crystal shard in this maze is. Obviously. And if I waited a little longer, I could have seen that fire dragon blow fire before I tried to jump off. So, that was on me. Now I need to go up one more story. There. I'm gonna get the ice cream. Get that lost hit point back up. Alright then. For this stage, you have to have some kind of rock power-up. Any rock power-up as long as they can reach the ground on this skeleton spinal cord. Make sure to take the one on the left, going down here, where you battle the big fishbone sub-boss. If you take the one that was on the right, you'll miss the sub-boss, and ultimately the crystal shard. So, yeah. The current going downward from here is strong, so you have to repeatedly press jump to go upward. Just holding the up direction doesn't cut it. And the fish bones and the falling bones can make it a little tricky. Of course, that's where one of the shards was. Just making sure I'm not missing any shards. I'm gonna get a bomb as part of what I need to get one of the shards in this one. Somewhat peculiar that Kirby's game creators fancy having a spaceship of some sort in a desert. They did that with Kirby's Dream Land 3 as well. Gotta be careful while crossing these horizontal moving platforms. Besides the bomb, the other copy ability I need is electric. You can get from one of these. And you need to use it in this dark room to see what Adolin painted. We got a moon, a star, and a tree. So we're gonna flip the respective blocks in that order. The pattern is randomly decided for each playthrough, so make sure to get the bomb and electric power-up before you get to that part of the stage on command. Other than that, the power-up sucks for defeating enemies, so I discarded it immediately. Alright, boss. You have to wait quite a while dodging attacks at the start of this scene. I'll just use my combo power as an attack. And the respective colored objects do more damage on the pigs if you hit the ones that are of the respective color. So try to do that. And there, I made short work of the boss without taking any damage. Notice anyone missing? Adlin alerts the others that Kirby is falling due to starvation. We all know what his appetite is like. And it's hard to find food in the desert. Unless, of course, if you're a magical painter that can just paint food and make it spontaneously appear. So everyone takes a lunch break. Then after a bit, the crystal opens up its next void that'll take them to their next planet, which is Aquastar. Of course, Kirby's distracted by his food, and DDD's like, "Come on, fatty." I swear, this game series influences obesity, with how much Kirby eats, and DDD as well, actually. Oh well. So we're in the first stage of Aquastar. Awful. Here's an easy to miss crystal shard, if you're not paying attention. I'm gonna need ice for part of the power-up I must have. And the other part I need is a bomb, so... yeah. There's a big problem with the ice and bomb power-up. It's that you can't detonate it manually. You have to wait for the fuse to go off on it, or run into an enemy to detonate it. And you can't run into a boss to damage them. If you play with Rumble on, the controller rumbles while you're under the waterfalls. So... final little detail. And because you can't impact the boss with this weapon without taking damage, I have to wait to defeat him, basically. Since this is a video, I can just skip ahead. Got an extra life from Madeline, sure. Awful. Hit me before I could apply the dang weapon. I'm telling you, this weapon sucks. It's just you have to have it to get this next shard on this stage. Blocks that require a weapon or power-up combination in order to destroy them to get a shard are color-coded, usually. See, I got rid of that as soon as I no longer needed it. Get the Maxim tomato. This music is the first stage music from Kirby's Dream Land 3. Rock is part of what I need for this one. And then I need fire. We got Waddle helping us by means of a raft ride. As you go downstream, the characters will get a warning annotation if you need to jump. Otherwise, you'll impact the obstacle and take damage. Make sure to jump here for the crystal shard. got the Hyper Lollipop. The song that plays while you have the Hyper Lollipop is obviously radically different than it is in the older Kirby games. There's a crystal shard here, so... Wow. Way to take damage directly after it wore off. I just went right through that in rough without taking a hit, just because of the scene transition. Since you're going against the river flow, you're gonna move slowly while walking, so just keep that in mind. Around here, I think, is where I gave up on this ability. Yeah. Yeah, if you inhale an enemy while they're in between a platform where you're at, it'll eventually destroy them. This is one of the hardest stages in the game to get every crystal shard in. Because there's more than one shard in it that requires a specific power-up combination. And in order to get the combination, you have to be very accurate with your inputs. And if you mess it up, you have to restart the stage. So... I wasn't really lucky, and I had to use the rewind in return, so just be prepared for that later. Alright, we need the cutter as one of them. The other one we need is the bomb. This is a neat copy ability right here. Mind darts. If only I could keep it a little bit longer. Unfortunately, I have to sacrifice it for a much slower power-up within this very stage. Right now. DDD catapults Kirby into the next section. And you have to throw the rock power-up into a fishbone in this area. And if you miss, you have to restart the whole stage. I skipped over a couple of rewinds where I missed them. You gotta be careful where you're at while you're defeating that sub-boss as well. Because if you fall down the pit, you miss a crystal shard. Alright. This goes above what Kirby can tolerate with floating alone. So what you need to do to get this one is you need to use the Rocking Cutter ability until he turns into Rick, the hamster. And you can go up against the wall and continually press jump in rhythm to climb the wall until you get that high. And I'm going to be using this ability for the entirety of the next stage as well. Using the Rocking Cutter copy ability makes this stage a lot easier in my opinion. Not faster, just easier. I like to use the ability to make Kirby turn into Pitch, which is the little bird. And that makes him invincible against falling rocks throughout this part of the stage and the very end. The characters that Kirby becomes with the Rocking Cutter combo ability are a reference to the Kirby's Dream Land games. In case you couldn't figure out on your own. Coo, the owl, can also fly, in this case, just not nearly as fast as Pitch, so... And if you get Kine, in this case, he's about as useless as a Magikarp, so... yeah. The current prevents me from swimming forward, and so I have to go all the way back around here and try again. On the day that this game first became available on the Nintendo Switch, there was a game-breaking bug where if you took damage in the underwater stages, Kirby would be stuck there, and you would have to restart the game. Which was very unfortunate for a game like this, to have a bug that wasn't even in the original Nintendo 64 game. Luckily, they did fix that. So, yeah. It was really unfortunate that that had to happen. Yeah. pitch is also useful here. That wasn't what I wanted. I just didn't charge long enough. Alright, this, in my opinion, is the hardest boss in this game. Acro the Orca. It's very difficult to land hits on him in the first phase. And as you can tell in this recording, I struggled against him. This guy is so annoying. It's hard to land hits on him, and it's hard to dodge his attacks as well. And just think, he has another phase after you beat that part. Though this phase is significantly easier. If you stick to the very left or the very right of this ascent, you'll be fine, as long as you watch out for the blowfish enemies. I hate you, Acro. I hate you so much. So Kirby and Co. are having some fun on the shore. Adeline shows them about skipping stones. So, they all throw. Kirby gets ready to throw at the sight of a tidal wave with everyone else flying. And it isn't until he throws the stone that I realize the wave was coming, leaving them all washed up, literally. And then he had to hurry up and get back into the crystal to go to the next world. Did you notice, though, that Kirby used his left hand to throw that stone, and everyone else used their right hand? It made me think for a moment, was Kirby left-handed? As I paid more attention to him later in the recording. Anyways, this is Neostar, which is, kind of a Jurassic kind of world. And I'm struggling to keep my health up because of what Acro did to me, so... This part was fun. I didn't realize that that one pupa was not going to come down. So, yeah. And I forgot that you can't float until the cutter fully returns, so I'm stuck there as well. Here's a very well-hidden crystal shard. I mean, very well hidden. Might try to get this ice cream without activating the spikes underneath it. Let's go. If you like to slide kick enemies in this game, you cannot slide kick the hacks, which are the axe enemies, for obvious reasons. So just keep that in mind as well. Since there's no power-up restriction in this stage, I'll use the fire sword. I need to get my health back up. There we go. Gotta be careful around here. Those Terrans can really get on your nerves. That was horribly aimed. This next stage requires backtracking to a different stage to get the power-up you need for it. So I got that before I started. Here's a very easy to miss one. And then you're riding the rails with Waddle Dee in the minecart. Look out for the annotation to jump, and jump over obstacles as needed. Unnecessary jump. I wasn't really paying that much attention while I was recording this, so I took a hit there. So be it. The rocket bomb power-up is super annoying to use, because after you throw it, you have to hold down to put on a hard hat to prevent you from taking damage yourself. Like, how can you say that's viable? And you need it to get one of the shards in this stage. And you can't even get it within the stage, so... I'll take that rib. Got some tricky maneuvers among shotsos and drops. Wow, that was awful. Alright, here it is. Then we got a drop. Bunch of drops to go through. Yeah, I'm getting rid of this right now. Wow. I get the roast beef to recover my lost hit point, and then the glunk hits me, taking it right back away. Yeah, that's fair. That's real fair. I'm gonna get the Maxim. Right. For this stage, we need a needle power-up. Any needle power-up that can touch the ground. In fact, an ordinary one will do. Wow. And then for the next stage, we're gonna need an Ice Swan. So why not combine them and use them both right now? Sandwich, gimme. I'll be using the Ice and Needle combo power-up for the rest of Neostar, including the boss. I guess Terran's getting in the way of certain. I completely forgot the Rocky's jump. Terran's getting in the way of you while crossing narrow platforms to jump across makes the game tough with Kirby's ability to float. Pay attention to the picture on Adeline's canvas. And you need to destroy blocks in this set to make it look like the shape of what she painted. There are at least 3 possibilities, like the top hat. Awful. In some playthroughs, she'll do a parasol, and in others, she'll do pizza. Just make the blocks arranged in the shape based on what she draws, or paints, I should say, and the crystal shard will appear there. There's one down here. Cute little homage. They spell out Kirby's name with the terrain at the end. It's as if other worlds within the game know about its existence. This stage is pretty scary. There are falling rocks at the start that can be very difficult to avoid. We got some King DDD action going on now. Very well hidden crystal shard right here. Yeah, that Bronto bird makes it hard to get past this part without taking damage. So, yeah. That Bronto bird dashing did not go like I wanted it to go. Dang it. And then I fly right into a Magoo. To get the shard you got up ahead, you need to have some kind of ice power-up. Any ice power-up. And be careful not to touch the lava while you grab it. And then we have a do or die scene where you have to run from a wall of lava. Just up ahead. I want the roast beef. Awful. Get the shortcake. The ice cream. There we go. Ow. Ice cream there. What's ice cream doing in a volcano, by the way? Video game logic. Wow. Yeah, like if you jump directly underneath an enemy like that, it doesn't even damage you. It's weird. And of course, there's a crystal shard in the volcano eruption scene. I wasn't really going for the extra life. I just aimed poorly. Alright, boss. Seems like I was slightly out of reach there. That's better. Let's go. I beat him without taking damage. So as the group is getting ready to go to the next world, they have to hurry because the volcano erupted. The void opens, BBB helps Adolin, Kirby helps Waddle Dee, and they're off. They're off to planet Shiverstar. What's funny about Planet Shiverstar, this is supposed to be a post-apocalyptic version of Earth. Besides the fact that the planet looks like Earth and its moon just frozen over, after you get through the appropriate snowfield and cloud top stages, you then go through like a shopping mall and a factory, and the boss fight is in a city, and they have no people in them, just robots. So, very disturbing yet very intriguing both at once, that they would include a world like this in the game. I'm gonna use the fire and bomb combo power-up. Thanks a lot, Frigis. Because I love this power-up, this fireworks move, it's really good. And you need some kind of fire power-up that can reach a high ceiling for one of the shards in this stage. Hitching another ride from Waddle on a sled. Then we're fighting a big chili for the sub-boss. Wow. I'm gonna swim under here for a shard. You can destroy the maws of any of the Munchie type enemies. The first Kirby game I ever properly played was actually Kirby's Adventure NES. So this music definitely caught my attention more than the other songs in this game, being a remix of the Butter Building theme. So, nice little bit of nostalgia, I guess, there. I just love how Kekis, which are the little witches, only appear in the background in this game and are not enemies you actually fight up close. Unlike with Kirby's Dream Land 3. Wait for that to expand a bit before I cross. I need to get closer. Awful. I need a needle as part of what I need for this stage. What's going on here? There's supposed to be an electrical enemy here. Give me a moment. For some reason, that Sparky didn't spawn where it was supposed to have spawned earlier, and I had to go back and make it spawn. And then it has a chance of jumping into the pit there. So it was a bit of a struggle for me to get the required power-up for the shard here after the Goku boss. Alright, so it's into the shopping mall with us that I talked about earlier. This power-up's not that great, so discard. I'm gonna fight for what we need for the next stage. What we need first for the next stage, I should say. Yeah, that's cool. That's totally cool, Mahal. And then I released my exhale earlier than I should have. Get the needle power up again. We got a giant pupa for the sub-boss. I didn't want to go forward. That just happened. Alright, now pay attention to the shapes Adeline paints on the window. We got a lemon, cherries, and a peach. She'll paint different shapes for each playthrough, and you have to activate the respective colored switches in sequence. Be careful of the collapsing bookcases. Getting caught directly underneath them kills Kirby instantly. Alright, I need a rock power up with the needle. So we'll do it here. Then we have this scene where we run around the ring zone while dodging shot sows in the background that are specifically aiming at you. this. This is another one of those stages where you need to change your ability combination after getting one of the shards to get another one. The first one requires the rock and needle combination, which is the rocket drill. We're just gonna shoot it downward here. I need to get down one more. Pairing up with DDD again. You need to smash your way through walls while dodging hammer bots. The hammer bots kill instantaneously, so you have to be extra careful. And the further you progress, the conveyor belt will also speed up slightly, making it even trickier. Part of what I need is the cutter. Very carefully for an electric enemy. I finally find one. And I struggle to do it because of the conveyor belts. Anyway, you need the electric and cutter combo for the shard after this Burnus sub-boss. Do you remember what I said earlier about Kirby being left-handed? He's clearly using the lightning staff with his right hand with his copy ability, so he's probably ambidextrous. Alright, now here's a very intimidating part. Maneuvering through a trash compactor. There are openings in it you have to wade in as it goes back up. And there are shot zones in the background that can make it even more intimidating. Why wouldn't they put a crystal shard there? And of course, the Zeus responds and hits me. And though I tried to get the sandwich, I hit a little too far and missed it. So I can't even get my health back for the boss. Should have started there. Yeah, that's fair. That's real fair. Anyways, moving forward. There's one world left to visit. It's the fairy's home world, and you can see it's getting engulfed in darkness. Everyone insists that they're ready. So, here we go. Kirby tries to go first, though he stumbles, and everyone else footstools him. Funny. I know some people critiqued the way these games looked on the Switch, and I can kind of see that with Planet Ripple Star, because on the Wii Virtual Console, the planet would be like scribbled over with lines that you can clearly see going over it, and they removed that in the Switch version. So, yeah. The first stage of Planet Ripple Star is a copy and paste of the first stage in Pop Star. It just has some different enemies and without the Waddle Dee encounter at the end, basically. We will need a combo power-up to get one of the shards here. The first part of it is Needle. Take this big Sawyer out quickly. The other one is a bomb. I'm gonna combine it with the Poppy Brothers Jr. at the end of the stage, though, because that's a lot easier. Is it here? I'll be needing this no longer. I'm gonna revisit another stage real quick to get the lightning staff ability. Waddle Dee tells you to go downward. Then we'll just use it on this platform here for a shard. We got a rock collapse, and DBB comes in to clear the way. Here's an easy to miss one. And then Adeline here gives you a Hyper Lollipop. Let's go. Break through the green one for a shard. And I'll just eat the Ghost Knight right now as part of what I need for the next stage. This stage is essentially an enemy rush. You fight all the non-boss enemies in the game, basically. I'm going to start off with the left side until all of them are gone. Then I'll merge my power-up with the fire enemy to get this pretty poor power-up that I need for one of the shards in this stage. I'm getting rid of it now. Let's get a better combo power up. Fire sword, yeah. I gotta eat. Get that last hit point back. For the quote-unquote final boss. You can't use copy abilities against Miracle Matter, and it's only vulnerable while it's in its transformations. Each one takes a number of hits before they're out for the rest of the match. Only copy abilities that are of its transformation's respective type can damage it. Otherwise, you have to rely on inhaling and exhaling. The Cutter one is super easy. The Ice one tends to give me some problems. Yet in this playthrough, I made short work of it. Also, combined power-ups can only hit with 1 point of damage, unlike with most other bosses. Let's face the right direction. No miss, Miracle. No damage, Miracle Matter. Alright, let's go. Alright, so once you unify all the crystal shards, the darkness gets carried away from Ripple Star. And if and only if you got every single shard, the crystal becomes powerful enough to detect darkness in the Fairy Queen, knocking her unconscious and exuding the evil out of her, which forms a new world called Dark Star. The quest is not yet over. Kirby summons a Warp Star with some kind of cell phone. Of course, he gets knocked away. Then they all ride off to Dark Star to finish the job. Got this very simple stage to play through first. Waddle Dee opens a manhole for you to go down. Adeleine will give you some help. And DDD will catapult you to where you go for the final battle. Alright, let's go. Weave from side to side while shooting crystals into its eye. And yes, the red dots coming out of its eye are, in fact, blood. It kind of shows that during the credits as well. After a bit, you'll stun him. And I like to shoot off his wings because it severely reduces his mobility and makes it easier to dodge his eye attack after he regains consciousness. Alright, shoot the halo on his head. And the bandage. And that'll open up, whatever the heck that's supposed to be. I'm not even gonna try to guess. And shoot that. And that's how it takes damage. Watch out for the green, sludge. Other than that, this boss is pretty easy. Much easier than Miracle Matter, in my opinion. You just have to memorize what you have to do to defeat him is all. There are other final bosses in the Kirby series that are much harder. Alright, I'm gonna have to weaken him once more. And with this, the darkness has been destroyed. We all make a narrow escape. Somewhat of a Metroid vibe there. Then back on Ripple Star, the Queen awards everyone with a crystal-like medal. Very nice treasure to cherish. Waddle Dee gets an oversized one for some reason. And the fairy kisses Kirby and he blushes, and he stumbles down the stairs. Funny. And then, credits roll. Of course, this game has a good ending and a bad ending. You get the bad ending if you didn't get all the crystal shards. In the bad ending, everyone assumes all is well, and Kirby and friends leave, kinda heavy-hearted in a capsule that sends them back home. Then after they're gone, the Queen's face glows, and she glares at the fairy evilly. That's basically what the bad ending is. So, very good, very fun game in the Kirby series, even though this one wasn't made by the OG creator. The only real involvement that Sakurai really had in this Kirby game was playing the voice of King Dedede. So, some of the biggest Kirby fans will have to anticipate how Kirby Air Riders turns out later on, huh? With that, wraps up this Let's Play. Consider subscribing if you like any of the franchises that I have listed here, because I do like them a lot and would like to play and talk about them a bit more on my channel. I also do fan art of a lot of different game characters that I like as a pretty good hobbyist artist that draws freehand pics, and will occasionally try out some games on the retro apps that I like as a Let's Play as well. So I have quite a lot planned for my channel, to be honest. So consider subscribing or checking me out if you're interested. And with that, it's going to wrap up this Nintendo 64 Let's Play. I am Crowlister, Master of Ponage. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next upload from here, wherever it might be. Bye.